Seoul greeted the morning with a softness that felt almost poetic, mist floating gently above the rooftops, sunlight slipping quietly between buildings, and a cool breeze carrying the scent of early winter. It was the kind of morning where nothing seemed urgent, where the city moved slowly, as if giving everyone a chance to breathe. But beneath that calm surface, the digital world was already trembling. News outlets, social platforms, and entertainment portals were exploding with the same headline, one that none of the fans had expected to wake up to. Hyun and son Ye-jin to make a special announcement after 3 years together. There were no details, no leaks, no insider confirmations. Just a single line released by their agencies. And that was more than enough to shake the entire entertainment industry. Within minutes, the internet turned into a whirlwind. Fans scrambled to translate the announcement across multiple languages, bloggers refreshed sites every few seconds, reporters rushed to gather any hint of information. It was as if the world collectively leaned forward, straining to catch the slightest whisper beneath the silence. For 3 years since their marriage, Hyun and son Ye-jin had been the definition of a quietly perfect love story. They had chosen a life away from noise, no grand public displays, no dramatic statements, no constant updates. Instead, they shared only small glimpses, Ye-jin posting a tray of homemade cookies, Hyun spotted pushing a stroller at a park. The way their hands touched in candid photos. The kind of love that felt real and soft, like morning light warming the first snow. Yet precisely because they were so private, this sudden announcement set off a storm of emotions among fans. Was it good news? Bad news? Something unexpected? For days leading up to the reveal, speculation only grew wilder. Some fans were convinced it must be related to their family life. Others whispered about a new project. A few worried it could be something serious, perhaps too serious to even imagine. The curiosity tightened around everyone like a ribbon pulled just a little too taut. Meanwhile, the couple remained silent. Quiet home nestled on a calm hill overlooking the city. The two actors continued their lives as usual. Ye-jin moved gracefully around the living room, arranging flowers in a vase as sunlight spilled through the windows, illuminating the soft smile she wore. Hyun stood in the kitchen, preparing tea with the practiced ease of someone who had found comfort in small routines. Their son played in the corner, giggling as he attempted to stack blocks higher than his tiny hands could manage. There was warmth in the air, domestic, steady, and unhurried. What the world didn't see were the unspoken glances, moments of reflection the couple shared in recent weeks as they prepared for what they were about to reveal. They had kept this secret close to their hearts, guarding it carefully, not out of fear but out of affection. It wasn't something meant to start gossip or shock the public, it was something tender, something meaningful. Something that grew quietly between them over late-night conversations and gentle laughter after their son fell asleep. Still, the magnitude of public reaction was impossible to ignore. With the announcement scheduled, anticipation reached a peak. Fan communities around the world organized live-stream watch parties. Media trucks gathered outside the event venue long before dawn. Even celebrities expressed their curiosity online, sending private messages to mutual acquaintances trying to find out what was about to happen. As the day arrived, the venue chosen for the appearance, a serene space decorated with simple white draping and soft warm lighting, began to fill with whispers. Journalists checked their equipment while fans waited behind barriers, clutching banners and handwritten letters. Despite the buzz, there was an unexpected sense of peace in the room. And that precedes something beautiful rather than tragic. Perhaps it was intuition. Or perhaps it was just the energy that Hyun and son Ye-jin naturally brought wherever they went. When the doors finally opened and the couple walked in, fell quiet in an instant. Not because of shock, but because of the softness of the moment. Ye-jin wore a cream-colored outfit that seemed to glow under the lights, her expression full of gentle calm. Hyun, elegant in a dark suit, looked at her more than he looked at the cameras, as if grounding himself in her presence. Their fingers intertwined naturally, as though their hands were mirrors that had found their perfect match. There was no tension in their eyes, no trace of sadness, only a quiet happiness that radiated more clearly than any spoken word. They sat down, exchanging a small look that spoke of a shared secret. The kind of look only people who have weathered storms and celebrated miracles together can share. Reporters immediately began capturing photos, sensing something unusual, something deeper than the ordinary updates celebrities usually gave. Hyun Bin was the first to speak. His voice carried that calm warmth fans had come to adore. "We've had 3 wonderful years together," he began. 3 years of learning, growing, and finding new ways to love. Ye-jin's smile deepened at his words. She added softly, "We've shared moments of joy, moments of challenge, and moments we will remember for a lifetime. And lately, talked a lot about the journey behind us, and the one ahead." Their words were tender but mysterious. Spoke as if hinting at something, yet revealing nothing. Reporters exchanged glances, unsure where the conversation was heading. Fans watching online held their breath. But the couple continued slowly, savoring each memory as if reliving it. Spoke of late-night talks over tea, the difficulties of balancing their careers with parenthood, the small joys of watching their son grow, the comfort they found in each other on both bright days and weary ones. It felt less like a press event and more like listening to two souls reflect on the path that had brought them here. Still, no one knew what the announcement was, and the couple was clearly keeping it for the very end. Then came the moment everyone sensed was leading towards something important. Hyun Bin turned to Ye-jin. She looked at him with eyes softened by affection, and he took her hand gently, as though grounding himself. Their son's laughter echoed lightly from a distant memory, and for a second, time seemed to pause around them. He took a breath. "We've kept something close to our hearts," he said softly. "Something we've been preparing quietly, something very meaningful to us." The words hung suspended in the air. Nodded, her eyes shimmering with warmth. "And today," she added, "to share that moment with you." Before he could continue, dimmed slightly, casting a golden glow across the room. Cameras zoomed in. Fans watching online typed frantically. Every breath in the venue became shallow. Something big, something emotional, was about to break through the silence. Hyun Bin looked up, gaze steady, voice low and heartfelt. "After 3 years together," the world leaned forward. "We wanted to celebrate something in our own way." That, the screen faded to black, ending the first part of their announcement. For a moment, the world stood suspended in a silence so delicate that even the soft hum of camera equipment felt too loud. The screen had faded to black at the exact second Hyun Bin's voice hinted at something deeply personal, something that had been tucked carefully into the quiet corners of their shared life. Fans froze, hands hovering above their phones, waiting, hoping, fearing. Journalists stared at their screens to type the next headline, yet completely unaware of what was about to unfold. Then the screen brightened again, slowly, softly, like the sun returning from behind a drifting cloud. This time, the camera focused not on the audience, not on the glittering lights, but directly on the couple. Hyun Bin sat a little closer to son Ye-jin now, hands still intertwined with hers. His expression calm but touched with emotion. Ye-jin looked serene, a gentle smile curving at her lips, the kind of smile that held a quiet joy. She exhaled lightly, almost a whisper. Hyun Bin glanced at her, and she gave a small nod, an intimate signal, one that spoke of shared understanding and a love strengthened over years. Then, with a breath steady and full of meaning, spoke the words that would ripple through fans' hearts like a warm wave. "We've decided." He paused, the corners of his mouth lifting slightly. "To renew our vows." A gentle gasp swept through the room. It wasn't the loud, chaotic sound usually heard in press events. It was soft, stunned, touched, like the collective sigh of people witnessing something unexpectedly beautiful. In online comment sections around the world, dozens of fans typed at once, flooding the screens with, "What? No way, oh my god, it's so sweet," crying. But Hyun Bin wasn't done. He held Ye-jin's hand even tighter, as if anchoring himself to the most important truth in his life. "It won't be a large celebration," he continued gently. "No cameras, no media, no fanfare. Us, and the people who have been part of our hearts from the beginning." Ye-jin's eyes softened, shimmering with emotion as she added, "Wanted something pure, something simple, something that reminds us of why we chose each other in the first place." The room grew impossibly quiet, quiet enough to hear the delicate rustle of her dress as she shifted slightly closer to him, quiet enough to feel the sincerity in every word they spoke. They explained how the idea had begun during a quiet evening at home. Their son had fallen asleep early, leaving the house wrapped in a rare moment of stillness. They sat together on the balcony, wrapped in blankets, sipping warm tea while the city lights flickered below. It was then, amid the soft glow of Seoul at night, that they reflected on their 3 years of marriage. 3 years that had brought laughter and tears, empty and doubt, exhaustion and renewal. 3 years that had taught them that love wasn't a single moment, but 1,000 small choices, 1,000 quiet mornings, 1,000 gentle touches, 1,000 ways of saying I'm here. Ye-jin, she confessed shyly. Who first said the words? Should we celebrate our love again, just us? Hyun had looked at her, stunned for only a heartbeat before smiling like a man who had just been gifted the simplest, most precious joy. Hesitate. Not even for a breath. Yes, he had replied. Let's celebrate us again. Decision wasn't about grandeur. Wasn't about the industry. Wasn't about fame. It was about returning to the essence of who they were, not actors adored by millions, but two souls who had found each other unexpectedly, beautifully, courageously. The press event shifted then, not into chaos, but into warmth. Journalists lowered their cameras. Some even smiled. It was the kind of love story that softened even the most skeptical heart. A story unburdened by spectacle. A story breathed into life by quiet affection. Ye-jin continued sharing, voice gentle and melodic, as she described what this small celebration would look like. Chosen a serene garden owned by a close family friend, a place bathed in natural light, where white flowers grew freely along wooden pathways. Only immediate family and a few dear friends would attend. Their son would toddle down the aisle holding a single white rose, not fully understanding but spreading joy simply by being part of their moment. Hyun would wear a light ivory suit. Would wear a simple, flowing dress without extravagance, something soft, timeless. There would be no grand decor, no fireworks, no extravagant stage. Just flowers. Just laughter. Just love. Hyun shared what he planned to say during the ceremony. His words felt like poetry falling gently onto trembling hearts. 3 years ago, I promised to love you for a lifetime. His voice softened. But today, I want to promise to love the woman you've become, and the woman you are still growing into. The fans watching online melted. Comments turned into rivers of hearts, crying emojis, and lines such as love wins. This is real happiness. They are the definition of soulmate. Ye-jin read a short piece of the vow she had written for him. Her voice trembling ever so slightly. I choose you again, not because life is perfect. Not because love is easy. But because every day, even on the hardest days, you are the place my heart returns to. By then, many fans truly cried. Not because the announcement was dramatic, but because it was human. Soft. Authentic. Deeply romantic. The couple also reassured fans that this celebration wasn't a sign of trouble or an attempt to fix anything broken. It was simply gratitude. A way of honoring their journey and reaffirming their bond. A celebration of choosing each other, again. Lightly, humbly, tenderly. They expressed their gratitude to fans for respecting their privacy. For supporting their slow and simple love. Cheering them on during uncertain times. Ye-jin said softly. Thank you for loving us even when we are quiet. Hyun added. Love grows best when it is protected. Thank you for protecting ours. As the press event neared its end, the atmosphere glowed with warmth, like sunlight reflecting off still water. This wasn't breaking news meant to shake the world through shock. It was a message meant to touch hearts gently and remind people of something universal. Love, when real, doesn't need noise. It's nurturing. It needs patience. It needs the courage to choose again. The final image captured by the cameras was Hyun pressing a soft kiss to the back of Ye-jin's hand. Her cheeks blushing as she leaned slightly toward him. Their silhouettes bathed in golden light looked less like celebrities and more like two people who had built a life worth celebrating quietly. And so, the news that sent shockwaves through fans around the world wasn't the drama everyone feared, it was the beauty no one expected. A celebration not of spectacle, of soul. A beginning, once again.